In this segment, we're going to be discussing kind of Trump, how he's cucked by Russia, and how Starmer's actually come off looking pretty good from this whole situation. And it's kind of surprising given how well he's done. So we'll talk about the Trump stuff first. We'll move on to the Starmer stuff second. It'll be quite a long video, so buckle up.
He's got to say, I want to make peace.
So he's talking about Zelensky here, about Putin. Talking about Putin.
He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, and all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? So
the cards reference is something he says to Zelensky in one of the press clips, and there's a lot of this stuff to go through.
Asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay?
This is genuinely the most stupid argument anyone will ever make. You know, what if you get stage 4? What if you get cancer? Right now, it's like Russia has a history of breaking agreements. There was an agreement previously where Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons in exchange for security protections from not just Western countries like the UK and the USA, but also from Russia. How did that go? And if they had those nuclear weapons, do you think Russia would do what they're doing now? It's such a dumbass argument.
How did they break it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
So is that why they backed out of Crimea while you were in charge? Oh, wait.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it.
It didn't affect Putin at all, that whole thing. In fact, he probably enjoyed it because he saw the USA tearing itself apart.
Ended up in a war, and he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam, and he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened.
I mean, I don't think he did.
But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal.
He didn't have any agreements with him, big dog. Like, how's he supposed to break an agreement with you that he didn't have?
I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty. But
it's not pretty right now because the USA hasn't given them the weapons they need to win just to survive.
You'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But
they won't be in a much better position though, purely because it gives Russia time to rearm. That's all it's going to do. Without actual security guarantees, a peace deal with Russia is meaningless.
You're not acting at all thankful, and that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Yeah, you know, because all he's obsessed with is theatre and ratings, even though his poll reviews are on the ground. This from LBC, talking about Zelensky.
A trap laid by Trump and by Vance. I suspect it was, especially the way that Vance piled in. Was it for,
So they tag teamed him, basically.
Television and ratings purposes? Yes. You have to understand with Trump, it's all about the attention. It's all about the limelight. So when he said rather glibly, rather cynically, that's great TV.
This is going to be great television, I will say.
Wants something. And if you look at his face, he was really, really angry. And he was angry with Zelensky because Zelensky didn't want to sign the deal as it existed.
It's because I think Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize, as I said previously. You know, there's a lot longer clips from here.
Our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea, so he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
You weren't there in 2015 either, pal.
yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract, yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it.
Because he can't be trusted. That's the point. And that's the point Zelensky's trying to make to Trump, where you need, essentially you'll need a peacekeeping force there in order to keep Russia at bay. Because if there's nothing there, especially no US-backed forces, it's over. There was a lot of discussion around how this is going to actually impact Starmer, because of the fact that Starmer had, just the day before the Zelensky stuff happened, he agreed for a second state visit, and so it was a big problem for Starmer, who I think recovered really well out of it.
He wants to.
We've covered this one already. And there's conversations, in the broader news media about this stuff as well. Sorry, this video is going to be quite messy.
Yeah.
So the question today is, can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose our values, our people. We can't lose our freedom. So a lot of people, Russians came to our territory, you know it. Russians came to our houses, and everybody saw it, video, images, a lot of things. They killed so many people. Just to forget it, just to say that Putin is a great guy? No, without us. We don't want it. That's why we speak about, everybody remembered how it was the first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine, yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have, again, new wave of occupation. That's why when we say, no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing, we are not pressuring, we're just asking, we're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans. Right. If you stay with us, thank you so much, but let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, that America stay with us. That's great. We count on it, but just to share it and to say that
it's very basic. Like I said, what he's asking for, it's not that complicated. And like I said, a lot of people are glazing Starmer effectively for the way he dealt with Donald Trump, giving the second state visit, and then all the Zelensky stuff popped up, game, set, and match, that kind of stuff, and then it just went really pear-shaped with all of this.
Wear a suit. You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting.
I don't think anyone gives a shit about it, I'll be honest.
The dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
like yours. Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know.
I think he just accused the guy of having a cheap suit there, and it keeps going.
No peace.
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much, because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate the agreement, because we needed what they had, and we're treating...
I think it's about the mineral agreements they're discussing here.
Our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, Sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem.
I think it's the majority of the problem, really. It's, I don't think Ukraine are going to agree to much, especially if they have to give up, Crimea officially and parts of, eastern Ukraine, like the Donbass and those regions, without some sort of security agreement. I think that'll be, and would Putin agree to NATO troops being in Ukraine, stuff like that?
I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once it...
Yeah, of course you need big dog to back it. Yeah.
We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it.
This one's got vicious nose breathing, so I'll leave that one.
Feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very
You
strong.
will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
cards.
cards right now. With us, you start having
Not playing cards.
Right now,
That's probably the best bit of the whole thing, really. I'm not playing cards, which is true. I don't think Trump really understands that. These guys are kind of fighting for everything they have in that sense. Like, they are desperate, but they're not going to agree to some crappy deal just to give Trump, plaudits and a Nobel Peace Prize.
you don't.
I'm very
You're
serious,
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the
president
lives of
anymore.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III.
It's ironic because Macron said the only one gambling with World War III is Russia.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
you.
Far more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and
Yeah, he's like, why are you not glazing us for? That's what they're saying.
campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
I think Zelensky wanted to deck him, to be honest. And they clipped this up like they cooked with this one. Have you said thank you once? Like, it's ridiculous. Of course he has.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, I've never seen anything like it before, and I've spoken to numerous diplomats actually in the last, less than 24 hours who are totally gobsmacked by what they saw and have said, even in private, they don't take the gloves off like that. You don't get shouting matches certainly in
There's a theory that Trump is using this to distract from the Epstein files. I don't think that's true. I think he's just an idiot. And we covered this clip already, right? But this guy here is one of the biggest Twitter accounts. That's not like like a news outlet or anything like that. His Twitter account is huge. And this is hilarious. But like, you got these guys covering it as well, or kind of clipping it up. It's crazy. Like, what if a bomb drops on your head right now? The reporter. That is a hilarious reference. I mean, but that's the point.
But after that, he broke this ceasefire.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this whole situation has gone crazy. Like, the amount of coverage, the views, everything this has gotten, because Trump's a complete moron. And so in the end, what happened was, the day after this, Starmer was very quiet. He's offered his support to Ukraine privately. Keir Starmer's team cannot stick their heads in the sand. And obviously you had this person, Alexandra Hall, former diplomat, kind of criticising Starmer over this. You had von der Leyen, lots of people giving public support for Ukraine, but Starmer was quiet. And a lot of questions being asked, and rightfully so. Does that make what Starmer did great diplomacy or utter spinelessness? The British press, Starmer offered to a state visit now a nightmare. So all in all, Starmer's first visit to the White House looks like it couldn't have gone much better. Number 10, delighted and relieved. His enemies bitterly disappointed, but this wasn't the crunch that will come if Trump makes a deal with Putin. If that deal is bad, Starmer's room for maneuver will evaporate and he'll be forced to choose a side. And then John Bolton being on the right side of history for once. The consequences for the US here are terrible. We're in danger of losing every single allegiance we have around the world, not just NATO. And then, Andrew Neil. So you've got I think people from the right and the left in the UK being really critical of what's happened here. Even the Tories have been critical of Trump. The only ones that haven't really the Reform UK people, because it's not a big surprise. So Andrew Neil saying this is no way to treat the leader of a country being pummeled by Russia. It's quite upsetting. Trump and Vance gang up on Zelensky. No way for leaders to behave. Trying to intimidate Zelensky. Vance attacks Zelensky, then accuses him of disrespect because he answers back. And this quote here, I think Putin might have treated Zelensky better, which is crazy. But then Starmer pulled it back. Miraculously, Starmer pulled it back. He's talking about building a coalition of the willing. They've had multiple meetings with different kind of European leaders, and also I think the Canadians as well. That's Mark Rutte, I think he's former Netherlands Prime Minister, but also I think he's in charge of NATO right now. You've got von der Leyen here. All of this happening in Downing Street. You've got Justin Trudeau and many other kind of world leaders. That's Maloney. And you can see behind him how many world leaders stand up to this summit. I think Turkey's flag must be other ones there as well. And they talked about a coalition of the willing, trying to come up with some sort of agreement, a peace agreement, and then they're going to put that to the US. Starmer has kind of played the role which the UK was seen as doing historically. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. It's the bridge between Europe and America, but also it's gone much further than this, because you've got other countries like the Canadians involved in the UK side of this. So I'm talking about we are all working together in Europe in order to find a basis for cooperation with America for a true peace agreement and guarantee security, Zelensky said after the summit. Meanwhile, Macron told Le Figaro newspaper that Paris and London wanted to propose a 1-month truce between Russia and Ukraine in the air, at sea, and on energy infrastructure. That one's important because Russia keeps attacking energy infrastructure in Ukraine. So again, this is kind of crazy. I don't understand, how Starmer has pulled this back. But I think what he did was he bypassed the US, went to a load of different countries who are very pro-Ukraine, and here you go, glazing the Oscars, but they won't talk about the one of the people who won a specific award. But he's pulled it back effectively, and this is great. I think the word is statecraft. It's great statecraft from Starmer in terms of building a coalition outside the US. We're going to be the ones to put an agreement to America to see if we can get them to agree to it. And even if they don't, there'll be, I think, enough kind of European troops in Ukraine after the peace agreement. It will make Russia consider their options, really, because I think it was Estonia that talked about it recently, having their troops in Ukraine post an agreement. Downing Street says there's now intense work ongoing towards a peace deal in Ukraine. It comes as Starmer hosts the summit, so this is kind of crazy, how he's kind of pulled this situation back. And I don't give Starmer a lot of credit domestically. It's not going good, in my opinion. But on the world stage, it's not hard to be a strong-ish leader, because you just got to show any kind of medium amounts of competency. You've seen that with Macron. I don't think Macron's that popular in France. It was close. He nearly lost to Le Pen, Le Fasciste. But on the world stage, Macron looks like a competent world leader, because the bar is very low for politicians. We saw Olaf Scholz, the absolute clown he was, just have no idea what he's doing. Whereas the new German leader, despite them being more conservative than Olaf Scholz, domestically they're going to be a problem. But on the world stage, they look a lot better already than Scholz did during his whole tenure. So, again, is good. You got essentially the guy who's cucked here with Trump versus Chad Starmer effectively, and I never thought I'd say that given the way Starmer's kind of turned domestically, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. So some credit to Starmer, deservedly so on this front. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.